What's going on YouTube? It's Nathan Xavier. Today, I'm gonna give myself a haircut. I've been cutting my hair for a while. That's how I kind of came up off TikTok. You know, I got haircut here, haircut there. I had waves with the coils. I had waves with the curls. I was being different for a little bit, but now we're just back to the regular old fades. My haircut's called a jaw fade undercut, and I do have a tapered hairline. I'm gonna teach y'all how to do the haircut I do to myself. Let's get me looking right. Let's get into it. So I'm gonna start with the duck clips and use these to section off the hair that I'm not going to be cutting from the hair that will be getting cut. I comb down the hair that I will be cutting, and this just makes sure that all the hair is going in the same direction. I disinfect both my clippers, and we go in with the Babyliss Pro FX trimmer to set in my first bald guideline. I'm doing a drop fade, so I have to make sure that there's a little bit of a drop coming from behind the ear, and I just bald that out. This is how the guideline looks. Next, I go in with my wall cordless seniors. I go in with the 2-guard lever open to just debulk everything. Just try to get everything down to the same level. Then I go in and set my first guideline with the no guard lever open. I go up around 1/2 inch, and I'm making sure that I do keep that drop motion, or like that. You can see that little curve going with the fade. That's how the guideline looks from the side. Next, I go in with my 1-guard lever open, and I create another guideline right above the guideline that I just made. I go up about 1/2 inch, and I'm trying to make sure that I'm not going too deep, because if I were to dig in too deep, the guideline will be pushed higher, and I don't want this guideline to be that high because I'm still trying to keep the line up dark and the hair that is closest to my longer hair dark as well. Going in with the 1.5 guard closed, we'll take out the line in between the 2 and the 1, flick out with it so that you're blending instead of creating a new guideline. I like to use the corners because the corners are a little easier to maneuver. To soften out the line between the no guard open and the 1 guard open, I use the 1 guard closed, and like before, I'm just flicking out at the line, and it's not going to take out the line completely, but it gives you like a little cleaner transition for when you do have to. Use the 1/2 guard closed, and using the corners, just flicking out at the same line. Lastly, I go with the no guard closed. This one gets out the bottom line, and you want to flick out and use the corners. And also, you can stretch the skin to make it a little easier. Next, I go in with the wall shavers, and this just makes the bald line a little more to the skin. Just basically like the final touches for the fade. And I go in with my trimmers to take out any line that I see or any dark spots. What you do to one side, you want to do to the other sides. I did the other side off camera because it's the same exact steps. To prepare the lineup, use the duck clips again and section off the hair I don't want to be cut. Comb down the tapered hairline, and I use my 1.5 guard with the lever open, and I go with the grain, which is basically the direction the hair is growing in, and I trim that down. I'll go in with the 2-guard lever open and go against the grain, against the direction that the hair is growing in. Trim it to my liking, trim it to how I want it to be. Damn! We get some hairspray and spray that along my lineup, and I brush the hair down just so that the hair stays in that position while I do line it up. Got that little wave, I'm not really messing with it. I tried to get it out earlier, but it just wasn't working. So for the lineup, I start in the middle, go from left to right, trying to make sure the line is straight. Even though I do have some light spots in the corners, I don't want to be pushing myself back in those areas. I just want to keep everything as natural as possible. Make sure you brush down your hair as well after every time you go over your lineup. On the corners, I did push myself back last cut, so I'm trying to keep everything as natural as possible. It kind of looks like I'm not really cutting anything, or like I'm not really pushing it to where the line actually is, but up close there is a little bit of hair and I don't want to push that back again.
Cadence.
For the C cup, I like to make the indent first and then go under and around, creating the C after, just connecting the 2 points basically. And I like to use the corners of the clipper because it's just easier to manage, easier to hold. I go in with my 245 cordless compressor along with their dye, the black dye. Makes my lineup look a little more sharp, a little more crisp, especially in those corners that I told you that they are a little light. This helps out a lot to make my lineup pop more. I go back in with my trimmers and basically reline myself up just to make sure there's no hairs like sticking out from where they're not supposed to be. I go in with my white pencil next. The lines I make with this pencil are very, very thin. I don't want this to look too animated or like too cartoonish. And then after you make those lines very thin, you want to go back in with your trimmers and line yourself up again. But this time, just making sure you're blending out this white line into your skin. Lastly, we go in with the razor. Make sure you're very careful with the razor because you can definitely cut into your skin and you don't want that to happen because then you're going to be all like chopped up in blood and like blood's going to be everywhere. So I would recommend using shave gel. I don't have shave gel with me right now. If I were to have it, I would use it. Hold the razor at like a 45-degree angle and go along the skin instead of into the skin. You won't have like those little stubbles of hair that just look unnatural. But yeah, this is the cut. We looking good.
Nigga, shut up and cut your neck beard.
I don't know why my beard don't grow, or it only grows along my neck, which is kind of weird. I don't like it. I don't like it, you know. So I always cut it off. I gotta realize now that it's just not gonna work. Next, I line up whatever I have left of a mustache. I start in with the trimmers along the part that's closer to my lip. Along the part that's closer to my nose, I use the razor and I make sure I stretch my skin. I do the same thing on the eyebrows. I use the trimmer to put in the slit again, but I do go over it again with the razor eventually. And same thing, just stretching the skin and taking your time with the razor. You don't want to rush this process at all. When you go underneath on the eyebrow, like around the eye, just make sure you're very careful. You obviously don't want to poke your eye, or you don't want to get the razor caught onto your eyelashes as well. Lastly, we're going with the worst part, the alcohol. I hate the alcohol, it stings, but you know, for sanitation reasons and to make sure that everything is clean, you want to go in with the alcohol. Alright y'all, that's the tutorial on how I do my drop fade undercut with my tapered hairline. And to show y'all the final result. Beautiful results. I'm finna go stare at myself in the mirror for a couple hours.
We are light skin and we can help you. I get it.
You know that like nice cut feeling, like you just can't stop smiling, bro. I just resurrected myself. But if you enjoyed the video, if you're gonna try this haircut on yourself, make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. I'm gonna definitely be doing different type of haircuts. I might do a high taper next, a low taper. Just show y'all different haircuts you can do with my undercut and all that. I'm gonna see you guys next time. What's going on like that? Damn.